Our next speaker is the chairperson for the Stillaguamish tribe, Shawn Yanity.
I want to thank the Squaxin Island people for hosting and lifting up everybody in the family. You're always so gracious. I want to thank the elders, the family, our veterans, and all of you that have stayed here and provided medicine for this day to honor such a great man who I've looked up to as I've looked up to my father. I'd like all the past and current Fish Commission commissioners and staff to please stand, because our work, I'm also a commissioner. If you're here, please stand. You are all my brothers and sisters. And like you've heard Lorraine say, it's going to be a tough road, but Billy paved that road for us. We believe in each other. We believe in the work that needs to be done. He has taught us all very well. We've heard many of his quotes, and they have so much deep meaning to them. Don't forget where we came from. And that one was special to him, because when he sat down with my children, he talked about the treaty. He talked about the elders. He talked about why it's important to know where we came from. Know the struggles that our ancestors and our past leaders had to go through to fight and hang on to who we are and what we are. Fishers, hunters, and gatherers. And Billy sure loves sitting down and talking, looking at pictures when fishing season started and hunting season. Seeing the kids out there, the elders out there gathering and fishing. We all know that meant a lot to him, and that kept him fighting. Tell our story. Not only in our own communities, but especially outside our communities. People need to know what our story is. One theme that you heard constantly today was family. He treated us all like we were family. When you worked with him, you became even deeper into that family. He opened his home to all of us, his smiles, and of course his hugs. And he always asked, when I seen him, he gave me his hug. How's Mama? How's the babies? How they doing? He came to one of our functions when we did a dedication to our nursery. My son Ian gave him a rock. Ian was only 10. Ian found a rock out there on the river, and he presented it to Billy and said that this rock was going to protect him on his travels. Billy got down on one knee, was eye to eye to him, and thanked him. Gave him a big old hug, gave him that woo-hoo-hoo. And he put it in his pocket, and he goes, it's going to stay right there. I will carry that with me in Washington, D.C. He cared about each and every one of us, the future generations. My son Cameron got to speak at his birthday party, and Billy lit up. He enjoyed seeing the little ones come and be with him. When I first became a commissioner, Billy talked me into going to D.C. with him, and never testified before. So we did our pre-meeting there at the Sense office in D.C. At Old God 30. Billy likes getting there 6:30 in the morning. We start pre-planning before we hit our meetings at 7:30, drinking our coffee, and I got real nervous and, asked Billy, he said, what if I mess this up? And he just looked at me and says, no. Do you believe in what we're doing? And I said, yes. He said, do you believe what you're doing? And I said, yes. Are you familiar with what you're doing? Well, yes. He says, you just get up to that table, you lean up, and you own them, and you tell them like it is. So I was feeling a little comfortable. So who do we go and testify before? Thank God the guy had a good day, Norm Dix. But Billy mentored a lot of us. He taught me a lot, always giving me advice, gave a lot of us advice. Our federal trustees and our state officials, he just told you what to do. But he forged a lot of leadership and a lot of leaders. It didn't matter if you were a policy person, you were a commissioner, you were a tribal leader. If you cared anything about natural resources, the salmon, the habitat, he was forging leaders. He was building each and every one of us up. Just a couple more things, and I'm going to step down. One, I was thinking today, just hearing the stories of everybody being hugged, and Jesus Christ, that hug. I wonder what it was like when he hugged our Savior. Said, Jesus Christ. He signed my book for Message at Frank's Landing, and in there he said, don't give up on me. I need you. And I won't. Not only my commitment to my people, our relations in Indian country, but this state of Washington, we are going to fight to keep those salmon alive in Billy's honor and our ancestors' honor. He signed my mother's book. Thank you for sharing your son. Well, I want to thank Billy's family, all of you, for sharing Billy. And I'm really glad Billy shared you with me and my family to get to know you, because I will make sure that he lives on, and each and every one of you live on, through the stories, through my children. And I ask everybody else to do the same, to carry on those stories, remind your children, your grandchildren of who this man and who the family was and the work that they do, because they need to be remembered. Thank you.
Our next speakers are Justin Parker, Intergovernmental Affairs at Northwest Indian Fisheries Commission, and Chairman of the Makah Nation, T.J. Green.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Makah people, the Makah tribe, I want to thank the family for this honor. This is truly an honor to get to be before this group of people here today and remember a great leader, not just a great leader for us as Indian people, but a great leader for the world, for the nation. And I'll try to be like these last two speakers, myself and Justin, as we are out at Makah. I'll try to be short and sweet, okay? Parker told me to say that. But when I was asked to speak here today, I was a bit surprised. I'm a young leader, as you can see, and I didn't work with Billy for too many years. I've been in tribal government for about 8 years and worked with him quite a bit over the last 3 or 4 years more than anything. And so I was a little bit puzzled on why I was chose to speak, but it is truly an honor. And when I told my father about it, that's what he said to me. He said, "Son, that's an honor. Billy is a great man." And that's not something I hear my dad say. I'm not even sure he ever said that about me, but he said that. And as I thought about that and reflected why Billy was a great man in my father's eyes, I think number one, he had to be honest. And we all know Billy was honest, and he told it like it was. And I know my father liked that. Number two, Billy was courageous, and that was talked about today. You know, not just brave, but he was courageous. He had follow-through, and he had a mission. He lived life with a purpose, and we all knew that purpose. And he loved his people, his family. And when I say his people, I mean all of us, because that's how Billy viewed it, all of us. Black, white, red, brown, it didn't matter where you came from. He talked about all of us. And he had a way of making everyone feel that they were his favorites. You know, us Makahs, us Lummies. He said that to every tribe. We all heard him do it, and we all believed it. But I think what he was really trying to say to us and make clear and get us to believe in is what's been talked about here today, is that together, all of us can get something done, can get the mission accomplished. And the mission that he was working towards was saving the environment, saving the habitat, saving it from ourselves. When we talked to Secretary Jewell, the meeting was talked about. He was on fire, and he was, and that's what he told us. He said the habitat is dying. It's being destroyed faster than we can rebuild it. And we're letting it happen because we are. There's leaders throughout this room that are in positions that can make a difference, and I'm one of them. And we all have the responsibility, the duty to our future generations, to our grandchildren's grandchildren, to save those things which we hold most dear in our natural environment for them. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank the family for allowing me this time. And I'm going to turn it over to the sweet one, Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, as TJ said, you know, I think we only have like 3 40-year-olds on this panel of speakers, and so it's really an honor to be asked to speak. And you know, if TJ was questioning, you can imagine me as not an elected official being asked to come up here and speak. And one thing that I know that we learned, you know, out of Makah and a number of our tribal communities is that when you're asked to do something, the family asks you to do something, you do it. I learned the hard way when I was asked by my Auntie Lou to speak at Isabel Idis's funeral on behalf of the family, and I tried telling her, well, you know, we got some of our older cousins back here, and I got scolded, and I learned my lesson. And so anyway, I truly thank you for thinking of me. I hope that these words that we say up here can be of comfort to the family. I also want to speak to the youth that are in the audience, and I have this there's this saying here, I'll expand on it a little bit more, but it goes, you only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes in a lifetime. Yo. You can do anything you set your mind to, man, and it ends with that. And by no means am I a fan of the, as you can tell, hip-hop artist Eminem. But in playing off of what Glenn was talking about, opportunity, you know, he sees that opportunity. And it was important to him, you know, we think of him talking to all these different, you know, Secretary Jewell and roundtable here and hearing here, but going out and speaking, when he's asked to speak at the schools and speaking to the tribal communities, that was important to him, and he held that to his heart, and he made every attempt to make sure that he was able to do that. He seized on those opportunities. You know, when we go to D.C., as you heard a number of people speak, as folks that are aware that go back there and provide testimony in the hearing, you got the red light, green light, and you got, you know, your time limit and all that, but there was always, Billy seemed to have that clause, as he does with a number of situations where his time exceeded the limit, and he'd have to get that hook. And this, I just recollect from July of 2012 where, you know, Mike and I had put together some talking points for Billy. You know, we'd go over it with him, but he was getting ready to go up there, and I just said, you know, speak from your heart, because that's what he does. We could script it out however we thought was the appropriate thing, but when he had stuff that was written, it wasn't him. He just, when he spoke from the heart, that's when he just knocked it out of the park. And you know, one of those at that hearing, they were talking about the impact of, you know, the environmental changes, climate change for the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, and I went out to dinner with one of the staffers that was on that committee last fall. And he was reminding me of that hearing, and at the end, you know, he's getting his hook, and they're trying to cut him off, and he just finally recognized that his time was out, and he goes, I'm 81 years old. I eat a lot of fish. Gosh darn. He's a little bit more colorful than that, as you can imagine. I eat a lot of fish. And he just held up his hands and went like that and walked off, and that was Billy. And you know, I as a number of people in here always felt, as TJ mentioned, you always felt he was a part of you, no matter how much time you interacted with him, how little time you interacted with him. He always made you feel important. You know, a lot of times we would, you know, go to different events, different meetings, you know, whatever, and Billy and I would be with Mike, and there was times where it was just me and Billy, and just having those moments in what he would call the Makah wagon. And if anybody's seen my car, I got the license plate Makah on it, so that's what he referred to as the Makah wagon. And we're kind of the yin and the yang. I was always anything above 60, I'm just uncomfortable, and Billy was always cold, and so it was, you know, it's nice now, these vehicles nowadays, you got the dual climate control, and so he was able to ride in comfort, and I'm glad I was able to spend, you know, the short amount of time that I was able to spend with him. And again, thank you to the family for allowing me to speak. And we do have a change of venue here, and I'll let Bobby explain it if he, thank you.
Thank you, Justin. That concludes the speakers portion of today, but we have much more that's going to occur. We'll move on. Nancy Gaines Shippentower will be coming forward to speak for the family. Billy is going to be a little late, but I don't think anybody cares if we keep him just a little bit longer. The other thing is,